One really unique thing that I do is this cycle of price action. The reason I think it's important is, one, it can hopefully help you stay out of, those corrective type of environments. I know for me, when I was learning, and even sometimes still today, for sure, I can have big runs and give back during corrections. And I think if you can reduce that, you're going to significantly improve your trading, and just your mental health during those corrections. And then two, once we kind of get into an uptrend, I know when I was first starting to learn, sometimes maybe you took profits too soon. And part of that is because us as humans, we like security. We like to know exactly what's going on. And when we don't, we naturally want to flee to safety, right? But if this cycle can better help you understand kind of where we're at, and have, more of a comfortability, sitting in positions as they rest and pull back. And then as we get later in the cycle, maybe being more proactive in selling, and maybe that can help you hold positions. I know that's really how I use it. So the goal here is to just understand this cycle. So I'm going to run through this very quickly here. And then what we're going to do is break each step down in particular, with some of the rules that I have around each step. So to start here, I use the 10 and the 20 period exponential moving average. So the red moving average is the 10-day, and the blue moving average is the 20-day. And then you'll also see when I hop into the actual examples, I keep the 50 and the 200 period simple moving average on my charts. I get tons of questions from people, why exponential, why simple, et cetera, why not the 9-day and the 21-day or whatever it is. And my answer to that is I really just don't think it matters that much. We're truly actually trying to execute on the actual price bars, and the moving averages are a reference guide that price tends to set up around. So I'll go into that more, but let me just explain the steps and then we'll get in and break them down. So to start, at the bottom of the price cycle is what I call the reversal extension. This is typically marked by high volatility, fear in the actual market. The market's been selling off likely for a couple weeks, and now kind of the last people who've tried to been hanging in there are scared, and they're typically hitting out. That can kind of mark the low. It's not necessarily when you really want to get involved in a particular stock, but it can be a signal to you, oh, this thing might be sold out, and then you can kind of wait for the volatility to contract, price bars to tighten up. Oftentimes that tightening happens right under the moving averages. And then when you trigger, a price pivot, which I'll get more into, and we break back up through the moving averages, you have what I call a wedge pop. So the extension is the low, high volatility. The wedge pop, you often see a decline in volatility, tightening price bars, and then push back up through those moving averages. For me, kind of triggers the beginning of what I'll call, the easy part of the trend, right? That period between the reversal extension and the wedge pop can be very up and down and unpredictable. Whereas once you kind of have that wedge pop, I think things should be a little bit more predictable, and you're more in that true intermediate term uptrend. Then the next step in the cycle for me is what I call the EMA crossback. It's pretty simple. We crossed above the moving averages, and when we test back into the moving averages, you're looking for price to support there. So kind of think of it, you get that burst higher on the wedge pop, and then you're naturally going to pull back at some point in time. And when you find support on the moving averages there, that's the crossback. So one of the things that I tell people is if you're worried you missed the wedge pop and you're, hey, did I miss the leaders, et cetera, the worst thing you can do is chase. Just be patient, wait for the crossback. It always happens. Sometimes it happens higher, sometimes it happens quicker, but just be patient because the key is to manage your risk. That's really the only thing we have control over. And that crossback can be a low risk area to try to get involved. Then the next steps from there are what I call the Basin break. This can often align, coming out of a true correction, 15 or 20% correction. I think the Basin break can align with some of the more traditional patterns like the cup and handle or the flat base, But in a typical, maybe a 5, 6, 8% correction, the Basin break, it may be a pattern where the stock's already at new highs. But it's just a slightly longer consolidation, maybe anywhere from a week to 3 weeks, in some cases much longer. And you can have multiple Basin breaks. I do think after you get 2 Basin breaks, you're getting later in that intermediate term cycle. And you should start being more aware or looking for an extension. And that's the last part of the up cycle. It's what I call the exhaustion extension. And this is really the opposite of the reversal extension. It's just we're kind of seeing greed take over the market versus fear. If you're judging sentiment on things like Twitter, you'll see people just like saying this stock's going to the moon. That's when you get the rocket boosters from people. And it's basically just an extension from the 10-day moving average. It can be marked with volume just like on the downside. But it's basically just that extension, and I'll go over ways to play that more as we get more into it, and can kind of mark the top of the cycle. You don't always know it's the top until you get confirmation from the wedge drop. So the wedge drop is just when you drop back through the moving averages. Typically, you'll kind of have that pull in on the exhaustion extension with a lot of volatility. You'll kind of chop around for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks. Some people will think, we're going to head back to the highs, etc. But then when you drop back down, that's confirmation that what, hey, if I didn't sell the exhaustion extension, I probably made a mistake, and it is what it is. But let's listen to the market and just step aside on that wedge drop, stay out of trouble. And then on the downside, I find the downside price movements, at least in a bull market like we've been in, are going to happen much more quickly than on the upside. So let's say the upside is 8 to 12 week move. The downside, you may have a 2 to 3 week very quick correction where you get the wedge drop, the crossback, the Basin break, the reversal extension in quick order, and then you spend as much time as the actual downside of the correction just basing out that volatility between the reversal extension and the wedge drop. So that's important to highlight. So basically after the wedge drop, you'll rally back up into the moving averages, and if price finds resistance there and heads back down, that's your EMA crossback. Then you'll have a Basin break. It's typically not like a 1 to 3, 4 week type thing like on the upside. It might only be a couple days. And again, this is in a bull market. So in a bear market, these downside moves might be more accentuated. But I think most people, there's positive skew to the stock market. Oftentimes we're heading higher. So the majority of what I do is focused on the long side. And then from there, after that Basin break, you get the reversal extension again, and the cycle just kind of continues to repeat.